All right, welcome Josie Ambroise and Valerie King to Marketing for Humans.
Thank you.
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Thanks for taking the time. We're just going to have a good conversation about stuff everybody's wrestling with right now, and I really appreciate your being here. Let's just see what happens. And what would really help is just to let people who don't know you understand your work and how you help people as real estate agents. So yeah.
Sure. You want to kick off, Val?
Yeah. So I am Valerie King. I'm CEO of VK Realty Group. We are a team currently of 3. It's myself. Josie Ambroise is my Director of Operations and Marketing, and Natasha Rodriguez is our showing partner. So it's the 3 of us that we work together in helping to serve our clients to buy, sell, and invest in real estate.
Great. Thank you. Josie, anything you want to add?
No, I mean, for the gist, I can add that, we are currently in Connecticut. I don't believe Val said that. So we service primarily Fairfield County and New Haven County in Connecticut, which is from around the New York border, a little past like Yale University, for example, up to like North Haven. We're just doing our best to stay connected. And it's really right now, while we're all practicing social distancing, I think the opposite common theme that I'm seeing is a lot about more face-to-face via virtual avenues so that people don't feel disconnected, while we're kind of trying to stay physically away from each other.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Let's just dive right into that. So,
Sure.
With the challenge of you are both running a business and it's not the regular MO right now. It's not like you can meet with people whenever you want. So what are your thoughts around staying connected to clients and people who you might do business with, like prospects?
Well, one of the things we did first off at the beginning of this week, after everything totally unraveled, was wanting to send out a video to our database and letting everyone know that, hey, we're all in this together. We understand that this is a challenging and unprecedented time, and but we're here for you, right? We're still here. We're still working. We're able to handle things virtually, showings, appointments, and things like that. So we're adapting to what our situation is and letting everybody, communicating that to everybody, right? And so we're doing that, and now moving forward, our goal and our focus is just reaching out to everyone and checking in, seeing how you're doing and seeing if there's anything that we can do to help, and letting people know that we are still here, to help any way we can.
I appreciate that because, I mean, as obvious as it might seem, it's so easy to isolate and not do that. So I appreciate that. Like just, well, I'm going to get on the phone and reach out to someone that I've done business with, that has been my client, that is my client now, so yeah, thanks for that reminder.
Yeah.
I mean, have you guys had any meetings with, I don't know if this, relates, but you're out of the Trumbull office in Keller Williams. Are you guys having meetings over Zoom for group meetings, or what's happening along those lines, or training?
Oh yeah, there's so much that we're doing right now, honestly, more than I feel like we've done in the past even. We have company-wide at Keller Williams, we have trainings that are going on. I jump on a Zoom call at 8:00 and 12:00 every day regarding our market shift, because we're experiencing a shift now in our market. As a result of this pandemic. And so we're talking about how to get through this shift and the things that we need to be focusing on. There's a ton of live trainings. I mean, when I say live Zoom call trainings, online trainings that our leadership is doing for us, again, keeping us centered and focused on what we need to be doing, starting with our president, Gary Keller, on Monday, just trying to give us some perspective, that shifts happened and that this too shall pass. And and then just kind of going from there. So we're doing all these different trainings, virtual trainings, to keep us focused, right, and trying not to allow us to get into and stay in panic mode. So even our team leader, Luis Sanchez, is going to be doing once or twice a week with a check-in called Lunch with Luis, and just allowing us to all chat and mastermind and ask questions around the situation so that we can stay connected as an office in the market center level. So we're doing that. And even at our team, we're doing a nightly call, around 7:30 to check in with each other to see how we're doing, see how, our activity, if we're able to make our calls for the day and just talk.
Yeah,
so that
and we're doing that with Facebook Messenger. So for us, even, it helps us stay more connected. And even though, you can hear the kids in the background and things like that, I think that the conversations are helping, because there's still challenges, from working from home and reaching out to people. But then we get to share the successes of, the good conversations that we've been able to have, or like what we were able to accomplish, even in the face of the challenges. So it's definitely, all of it has been very supportive, I think, to help with like morale, personally and just professionally, and just keep us moving forward.
Yeah, I love the example of having, inspiring content, like any content, whether it's a course or who knows what meetings that you're having, and you're just staying in touch and everyone has different perspectives on what's happening, and just to have forums where you can come together and share about that. And then, of course, Gary Keller, someone said earlier that the whole Keller Williams was born out of a time of crisis as well. So it's like, they're kind of ready for something like this. And they know that things go up and down, as anyone who's been in the market for long enough has seen.
Right.
Yeah.
And our company has been preparing for a while, for the last 2 years at least, for a shift. They've been talking about a shift for the last 3 years, in fact, and 2, for a technological shift. So, getting our organization, our company prepared to be on the forefront of technology. So we have a lot of the things in place, so, to be able to do that already through Keller Williams, which is great to know that,
And that would help in a situation like this, where you can lean on technology, where you need to lean on technology a little more. Anything? Yeah. I mean, is there anything in particular that can you give me for instance, where that's helping right now?
Well, I know that, we've already started integrating our database into the new command system that Keller Williams has, right? And, one of the things during a shift you talk about is cutting expenses. Having that platform that people can shift to now and be able to cut the expensive contact management systems that they've been spending and paying for, and the ads that they've been paying for, because we're able to do that through this system more cost effectively. It's allowing people to cut thousands of dollars out of their expenses, to do that. So, personally, I try and run somewhat lean anyways. So I'm still looking at expenses to cut, but
yeah.
Oh, Val, your volume cut out.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had a call come in. So technology's allowed people to be able to do that shift and cut expenses for sure.
And I just want to clarify for people who might see this that has no clue what she's talking about. So Keller Williams, as being an agent with them, you pay a technology fee, which I think is $25 a month or something like that, very nominal. And it includes all of these different services as being under the Keller Williams umbrella. There are still some agents or some larger teams that might prefer to use a third party, like database management system, when she said contact management, or just a lot of different third party advertising or marketing services. And those are the type of expenses that if you just plug into what's being provided for you, which is this customized AI technology, you're able to eliminate some of those third-party companies to just save expenses. So you have to plug in, you have to learn the system, and just get on board, but some people are saving thousands of dollars a month by just shifting into the Keller Williams system that's available to them, rather than continuing to pay for some of those third-party sites.
Yeah, that's here, especially for if they're doing Facebook advertising, those budgets can go overboard. Fast.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good to hear. Well, you know what? Speaking of budgets decreasing in a good way, let's talk about local businesses that might be struggling, and if there's any thoughts that you have around supporting them, such as, hey, I'm going to order takeout from my local pizza place or whatever, like just a way to keep them in business. I know that they're talking about government support right now, but just thought I would throw out the question.
Yeah, I mean, and I've seen a lot of this being talked about as well. And there are some local businesses that I know, I personally know the owners too, right? So it's thinking about, okay, while personally I'm trying to keep my expenses low as well, right? So eating out often isn't going to be
that's
the norm, right? That's not going to be the norm. But, if we're able to order out once in a while and or buy gift cards from those places, right? So that you can, when things kind of level out, can go back to resume that. At least they'll have that money from those gift cards to be able to sustain moving forward. But it's going to be a challenge, and I think those businesses in turn will also have to look at what they need to do in this shifting market, right? And be able to say, what are expenses that we can cut? What are ways that we can add value to the community and be able to stay on the forefront? Like, many of them are offering delivery services that didn't used to in the past, or takeout services that didn't used to in the past, because that's
curbside
the options.
Yeah,
right.
A lot of
curbside
options.
Right, exactly. So having those, encouraging those businesses to be able to adapt and say, well, we don't need to close our doors completely, but maybe we can offer those types of services to and letting the community know. So if you have no Facebook or online presence, now's the time to jump on and getting that presence, because you want to continue to connect with the community. I mean, there are community Facebook pages and boards that those business owners can join and be able to promote and say, hey, we're still here and we can offer this service in a different way for you.
Yeah. And I think, so like, I'm guilty of this. For personally, while we were looking at cutting expenses, like me and my boyfriend, we don't have a lot of extra expenses because he was very ill years ago. So we cut as much as we could at the time while he was recovering for months from what he had. But for us, it is eating out, as Valerie said. And so I'm like, it really is like my pantry is super stocked right now, just in case. And so we have to cook at home more. But there are still those instances where if we do go out, we are purposefully picking the small mom and pop places, even for a cup of coffee. Like I love coffee, but I refuse to buy a coffee machine so that I don't drink it like every single day. And today, I wanted coffee. And so I could have went to the Starbucks, or I could have went to the mom and pop like cafe. I went to the mom and pop one because I know that those funds would help them more than me going to like a big brand or a big chain rather. So even those small kind of adjustments in mindset, it might end up being slightly more expensive. It might be the same. But if I'm going to do it, then I'm going to intentionally at least put my money to the people that I think would benefit from it most during this time, time of need.
Yeah. Great. That's great. Yes. Well, all right. So then let's look at, ourselves. So, it is known that if we are super stressed and anxious and kind of all over the place, that it lowers the immune system. And it's more important than ever to stay healthy. So being relaxed and calm and centered is not just a nice to have, it's like a must have right now. Yeah. So I'm just curious, you know, how, when, where, like, how do you keep yourself centered these days? What are your go-to practices right now?
I'll start with that one. So for me, I've actually answered this question a few times this week in different groups that I'm part of. And the first thing I do is I step back from the negativity, because, you know, you can go on social media or listen to the news, and there's a lot of the people who are creating the chaos and the hysteria, for example. And then you have the other side where there's the people who are like, what can I do? How can I help you? Like, let's come together as a community to make this less stressful. I'm in that group. I'm surrounding myself with those people, because the hysteria is not going to help anybody, you know? Like, I completely understand. We're all in the same boat together, though. So trying to add value rather than add to the stress is one of the biggest things that I will always try to do to help my own mental state and my own sense of calm. You know, and on the call that Val mentioned, the national one that Keller Williams, one of the leaders, has started, you know, they talked about staying fit at home. Like, you know, at the end of this, you're either going to lose 10 pounds or gain 10 pounds, you know, they jokingly say. So if you're able to work out at home, even just for a little bit, you know, make that effort. You know, gym memberships was one of the things that they suggested suspending, because at least in Connecticut, the gyms are now closed.
Oh yeah, so, that's here too.
Yeah, so, you know, suspend that, and then just, a lot of people, you know, commented like, I haven't even used my membership in years. Well, now might be the time to just cancel it, you know, and you can always start back up again, but cut that expense and work out at home. If you have treadmills, you know, then spend a little time on it at home, but just make sure you're getting in that exercise, or maybe even going for a walk. You know, it is okay to go outside, you know, and just practice social distancing if you happen to come across a group of people. So, so those little things, I think, help go a long way.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. So kind of similar to Josie. I mean, I'm purposefully getting on the calls and getting in the conversations with people, level-headed people that are saying, okay, we know this is what we're going through, and this is how we're going to get through it. And so keeping me focused on that, the tasks and the things that I need to do, because on my own, I probably wouldn't have thought of, oh, I need to go and cut my expenses, right? So keeping me focused on the things that I need to be doing during this time, and just saying, don't worry about the rest. So we're clear as a team that all we need to focus on is talking to our database, and letting them know that we're here, and asking them if there's anything that we can do to help them. That's it. That's our job right now. And just continuing to have a presence online. So that's our focus, and knowing that clarity brings calm, right? And so knowing and being clear on what our tasks are, for me, has created a calm, and so I'm not as stressed about all the unknown, right? I know that we'll be okay, and we're going to get through it, because we have no choice.
Pretty much.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if anything, like, I love that your focus is there for, you know, that's what's keeping you calm and clear and collected. And I will also say that sort of in a personal side of things, right, going on walks has been really helpful for me. And I don't go to church regularly, but I went to a church service on Sunday on Zoom, and it was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys are like part of communities like that, you know, in your personal life, but I find that really helpful as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Catholic. We're Catholic, and they started the services, offering the services online. I just discovered, so probably be doing that.
It was fun, by the way. I think you'll enjoy it, actually.
So yes, we'll be doing that, and we're going to be working out ways to go outside and bring the kids outside, because we have 3 young children of our own. So little cabin fever
Heck
is
yeah.
going to be starting to set in pretty quickly. So getting them out to run around and move during this
You live
time.
in Fairfield County. All I can say is, what is that place? Aspetuck Valley Land Trust. If you guys haven't hiked those trails yet, I still am jealous of people who live there, because there's such it's really diverse terrain. It's not just a gorgeous bunch of trails to hike, but there's rivers, there's like these huge hills, there's a whole apple orchard that you suddenly happen upon. I mean, it's just spectacular. Aspetuck Valley Land Trust.
I will look at that.
Yeah, it's straight up Black Rock Turnpike.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, Josie, any other thing about self-care, just stuff you're doing kind of outside of work? Sounds like you're pretty clear on your practices right now.
Yeah, it's I'm a workaholic by nature, but I am trying to be purposeful about being a little less. For example, today, Val and I had an executive meeting scheduled for after this call, and with my boyfriend getting out of work a little earlier, his business is a little bit slower. I was like, you know what, let me stay home and spend that quality time with him, and then tomorrow, between me and her, our schedule is a bit more flexible, and we can reschedule our meeting for the morning or something. And just that little piece, I think it's important. Actually, they talked about this on the call this morning, to spend that extra time with your family and just kind of explain to them, even for people who are entrepreneurs, this is how the next few days are going to look like. Or maybe you're not an entrepreneur, but you're finding yourself being forced to work at home, and just explaining, if you have kids or a partner, like, this is kind of how this is going to need to play out, so that you can get your stuff done, but they don't feel neglected, or, because I'm sure that, as everyone is stressing, but maybe not necessarily talking about it with each other. And it's important to make sure that your family feels as valued to you as your work, is being valued to you.
Yeah.
To kind of go with that, Josie, with what Josie is saying, communicating, talking, especially with the children, right? So I am not gonna lie, these last couple days being in, homeschooling, being an in-house teacher has been stressful, and I have a whole new appreciation for teachers out there. Okay. And I love the teachers, my school, my kids' teachers, but talking to them and trying to make sure that they understand that, what, this is our new normal right now for a while, and I don't know how long, right? I mean, we have some end dates, and all of those could get extended, but and letting them express how they're feeling, right? So I had one of my sons, he seemed really down, and I'm like, what's wrong? Talk to me. And he said he missed his friends, and I said, I understand, I get that, and I'm sorry that we can't do that right now, right? You can't be with your friends right now, and we'll figure out ways for you to be able to get outside and play with your brothers, and circling him back to understanding what he has available to him. And he has siblings, he has his parents, so he's not alone. And so just kind of giving him perspective in his own situation with what he's dealing with too. So taking a lesson from that for me is just having perspective. We're here, we're together. That brings a certain calm as well. And I would say to parents, right, give yourself a little bit of a break, and understanding that this is different. We've never dealt with this before, right? And so as a business owner, but also as a parent, I've got to juggle the two. And when I'm not able to do as much for my business as I expected or wanted to, because I'm doing things for the family and with the children that are home, giving myself some grace to understand that I've just got to figure out my balance and my new normal for now.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah.
Well said. And my prayer is that parents somehow find solidarity with each other. I mean, it's just, you're doing so much now, you know, somehow to find mutual support.
Ooh, I came across a great idea. This was a coach on the shift calls that we're listening to every morning. He says that he and his wife are meeting via Zoom, and they're going to be doing this once a week with some of their friends, other couples, and doing a trivia night.
Oh, fun.
You know, or game, you know, of some sort that they're able to do virtually. And he said that they had a great time, and they're going to continue that. And it's just a way to stay connected, even though we're all distant. So
it's fun.
Yeah, great idea.
Val, do you have the book handy?
Yes.
Because so what they said, like, to hold it up or say the full title, because I know it shifts, but I don't know the exact title and the author. What he had suggested this morning, so it shifts by Gary Keller. So even though it says how top real estate agents tackle tough times, on the call, he had said, you know, get the book, look through the book, and anytime it says realtor real estate, just if you're an entrepreneur, you know, replace it with your job role, and it applies. You know, the book literally was written, I think he said, a decade ago, and it was about the changing shift in the market at the time. And whether you're a business, a restaurateur, you know, whatever it is, a salon, like, everyone's feeling it. So the book can be super helpful to give you ideas of what you can do in this market. So just a suggestion for anyone else that might be looking for some ideas of how to help their business keep moving along. Really, I would look at the book and, like you said, replace realtor with your own title, and then just read through it in that mindset.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you for that. I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I mean, thanks for your insights and willingness to just have this conversation, because I know some of this stuff is just not easy yet. Like, we don't all have this figured out right now.
Right.
And it really helps to see what everybody else is thinking and what they're doing. I'm sure if even one person gets an idea about what to do with their kids or how to handle their business, we will have been a lovely contribution by doing this together. And I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
It's been our pleasure. Thank you for doing this, Christina.
Yeah, power to you as business owners and parent, I should say.
Yeah.
Family member, whatever you call it. But thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, and stay safe and healthy.
Yeah, stay healthy.